Sandpaper is a heavy paper with abrasive material attached to its surface. Sandpaper is part of the coated abrasives family of abrasive products. It is used to remove small amounts of material from surfaces, either to make them smoother, to remove a layer of material, or sometimes to make the surface rougher. History: the first recorded instance of sandpaper was in 13th century China when crushed shells, seeds, and sand were bonded to parchment using natural gum. Shark skin was also used as a sandpaper. The rough scales of the living fossil coelacanth are used by the natives of Comoros as sandpaper. Boiled and dried, the rough horsetail is used in Japan as a traditional polishing material, finer than sandpaper. Sandpaper was originally known as glass paper, as it used particles of glass. Glass frit has sharp-edged particles and cuts well. Sand grains are smoothed down and did not work well like sandpaper made from glass. Cheap counterfeit sandpaper has long been passed off as true glass paper. Stalker and Parker cautioned against it in the 17th century. Glass paper was manufactured in London by 1833 by John Oakey, whose company had developed new adhesive techniques and processes, enabling mass production. A process for making sandpaper was patented in the United States on June 14, 1834 by Isaac Fisher, Jr., of Springfield, Vermont. In 1921, 3M invented a sandpaper with a waterproof backing, known as wet and dry. This allowed use with water, which would serve as a lubricant to carry away particles that would otherwise clog the grit. Its first application was automotive paint refinishing. Types: there are many varieties of sandpaper, with variations in the paper or backing, the material used for the grit size, and the bond. Backing: in addition to paper, backing for sandpaper includes cloth, PET film, and fiber, or rubber. Cloth backing is used for sandpaper discs and belts, while mylar is used as backing for extremely fine grits. Fiber or vulcanized fiber is a strong backing material consisting of many layers of polymer-impregnated paper. The weight of the backing is usually designated by a letter. For paper backings, the weight ratings range from A to F, with A designating the lightest and F the heaviest. Letter nomenclature follows a different system for cloth backings, with the weight of the backing rated J, X, Y, T, and M, from lightest to heaviest. A flexible backing allows sandpaper to follow irregular contours of a workpiece. Relatively inflexible backing is optimal for regular rounded or flat surfaces. Sandpaper backings may be glued to the paper or form a separate support structure for moving sandpaper, such as used in sanding belts and discs. Stronger paper or backing increases the ease of sanding wood. The harder the backing material, the faster the sanding, the faster the wear of the paper and the rougher the sanded surface. Materials used for the abrading particles are: flint, no longer commonly used; garnet, commonly used in woodworking; emery, commonly used to abrade or polish metal; aluminium oxide, the most common and widest variety of grits, lowest unit cost. Can be used on metal or wood; silicon carbide, available in very coarse grits all the way through to microgrits, common in wet applications; alumina zirconia, used for machine grinding applications; chromium, oxide, used in extremely fine micron grit papers; ceramic aluminum oxide, used in high-pressure applications, used in both coated abrasives, as well as in bonded abrasives. Sandpaper may be stearated, where a dry lubricant is loaded to the abrasive. Stearated papers are useful in sanding coats of finish and paint, as the stearate soap prevents clogging and increases the useful life of the sandpaper. The harder the grit material, the easier the sanding of surfaces like wood. The grit material for polishing granite slab must be harder than granite. Later abrading surfaces include long-life stainless steel sanding discs. Bonds: different adhesives are used to bond the abrasive to the paper. Hide glue is still used, but this glue often cannot withstand the heat generated during machine sanding and is not waterproof. Waterproof or wet-dry sandpapers use a resin bond and a waterproof backing. Sandpapers can also be open coat, where the particles are separated from each other and the sandpaper is more flexible. This helps prevent clogging of the sandpaper. The wet and dry sandpaper is best used when wet. Shapes. Sandpaper comes in a number of different shapes and sizes, sheet usually 9 by 11 inches, but other sizes may be available. Belt, usually cloth-backed, comes in different sizes to fit different belt sanders. Disc, made to fit different models of disc and random orbit sanders. May be perforated for some models of sanders. Attachment includes pressure-sensitive adhesive and hook and loop rolls, known as shag rolls by many contractors. Sponge, for tight places. Grit sizes. Grit size refers to the size of the particles of abrading materials embedded in the sandpaper. Several different standards have been established for grit size. These standards establish not only the average grit size, but also the allowable variation from the average. The two most common are the United States CAMI and the European FEPA grade. The FEPA system is the same as the ISO 6344 standard. Other systems used in sandpaper include the Japanese Industrial Standards Committee, the micron grade. The ORT system was used in the past in the US. Cheaper sandpapers sometimes use nomenclature such as coarse, medium, and fine, but it is unclear to what standards these names refer. Grit size table. The following table, compiled from the references at the bottom, compares the CAMI and P designations with the average grit size in micrometers. See also, belt sander, Dremel, emery, grinding machine, particle size, polishing, sander, sanding block, emery cloth, crocus cloth, grind. References. Further reading, Michael Dresdner. The Wood Finishing Book. Taunton Press. ISBN 1-56158-037-6, external links, Federation of European Producers of Abrasives, Sizes.com on sandpaper, conversion chart abrasives, grit sizes.